Today, let's learn a little something from our teens about life and sexuality in the digital age. Hi, I'm Nadine Thornhill, sexuality educator. Welcome to my series, Save Sex Ed, where I teach every sex education module from Ontario's 2015 Health and Phys Ed curriculum. If this is your first time, then you can click on the I to find out more about the series. If it's not your first time, thanks for coming back. And if you want to subscribe to the channel, you can do that by clicking the button below. Also, click the bell to get notified when I post new videos. The Health and Phys Ed curriculum for grades 9 through 12 outline the following learning objective for grade 9. Demonstrate an understanding of the benefits and risks of using electronic communication technologies and describe strategies that they can apply to ensure their safety while using these technologies. So this actually isn't the entire learning objective as stated in the curriculum. There is this parenthetical bit where they give examples of risks and benefits. I left it out for a reason because we are going to get into that in our activity. For this activity, you are going to need a copy of this learning objective. Now you can get it here because I just said it. I will also have a link to the grade 9 through 12 Health and Phys Ed curriculum available for download in the description below. You are also going to want to set up chairs, and if you have them, tables, sort of in a round table setting. So this is going to be a discussion-based critical analysis type exercise. You are going to begin by reading the learning objective, the entire learning objective, including the parenthetical parts. Demonstrate an understanding of the benefits and risks of using electronic communication technologies. For example, easy access to useful information and entertainment, but also harmful or undesirable information and entertainment such as pornography. Enhanced ability to stay in touch with friends, but also increased possibility of exposure to sexual predators, bullying, and sexting. Ability to communicate one's thoughts and creative efforts to the rest of the world, but also increased potential loss of privacy. And describe strategies that they can apply to ensure their safety while using these technologies. Explain to the group that you want to have a conversation with them about how this learning objective describes sexual activity or sexual information, and that you really want to get their opinion about what they think this learning objective gets right or wrong. It's going to be helpful if you can have the learning objective posted or accessible somewhere so that your teens can refer back to it. Next, you are going to ask a series of questions, and then you are largely going to sit back and let the conversation unfold as it will. Before I get into the questions, I just want to tell you a little bit about my perspective, my bias, if you will, and how it's informed the way I've designed this activity. I do believe that social media and online platforms present certain risks to youth and really to anyone in terms of how we understand sexual behavior, in terms of the information and education that we get, and in terms of granting access to people who may be sexually aggressive or sexually violent. I don't think it's all dangerous, and I do think that digital technology offers some benefits to teens in terms of sexuality and sex education. Based on conversations that I've had with teens, I get the sense that often they feel really frustrated because what they tend to hear from adults in their lives is that, their online world, what they're doing on their phone is bad, it's risky, it's dangerous. And what they don't hear a lot of is acknowledgement that in many ways and in many cases, they understand this technology better than we do. So I've tried to frame these questions in a way that positions youth as experts, that gives them space to talk about the things that may be positive or intriguing or appealing about exploring aspects of, sexuality or their sexuality online. I've also tried to frame these questions in a way that assumes that youth are largely aware of the risks that exist when they are in online or digital spaces. So without further ado, here are your discussion prompts or your questions. Why do you think the examples related to sex and sexuality in this learning objective are negative? How concerned do you think teachers and families should be about issues like teens and sexting? What would you say to an adult who assumed that you weren't aware or weren't taking steps to protect yourselves from sexual bullying or sexual predators online? How common would you say sexting is amongst teens? Can something like sexting ever be positive or part of a healthy sexual relationship? How concerned do you think teachers and families should be about teens watching porn online? Generally speaking, which aspects of pornography do you think are different from sex in real life? If or when you get information about sex online, how do you decide how accurate or factual it is? How do you navigate the reality that information that you put online and or on social media is usually easily accessible and easily shared? Hopefully these questions lead to some exciting and interesting discussion and maybe some debate. You are going to wrap up the activity by explaining that, like in real life, life online comes with risks, it comes with benefits, it comes with rewards. We're going to make mistakes, we are going to learn things, and that life online is often a more intense version of our real life lives. The statements we make online can have a much wider reach than the statements we make in real life. The rewards and benefits we experience online can be, more immediate, and they can feel more exciting. Similarly, the consequences for our mistakes or our poor decisions can be more painful, and they can linger longer than they might in the real physical world. And so that is not to be directive or tell anyone what they should or shouldn't do. These are all things to just keep in mind when we are living our online lives. If your kid is doing something online or on their phone or on whatever device they use that you're unsure about or you're concerned about or you don't like, talk to them about it. If you disapprove, you can certainly tell them that you disapprove of their choices or their behavior, but it can also be helpful if you can explain or articulate why you're concerned. So for example, if you find that, your teen has been to some adult sites, you might say something like, listen, I'm just really concerned that you are going to watch this and you're going to get the idea that this is what partnered sex in real life should be, or that this is what partnered sex in real life is like for most people, and that is in fact not true. Now, that is a concern that I have generally around youth watching porn online. You may have different concerns about entirely different issues, but try to talk about them, and if you can, try to make it a conversation and a discussion. Also remember that, when we see teens using their phones or the internet to explore or express sexual things, they are going through a lot of, sexual and social development. They're having a lot of new and emerging feelings. And so oftentimes that sort of exploration is, about curiosity and just sort of trying to feel out things. So, teens might go to an adult site because all of a sudden they're curious about, what does it look like when, people are having certain kinds of sex? I just want to know. Or, they may take, a sexy picture of themselves and send it to someone or show it to someone because they're like, well, what does it mean to feel sexy or to be perceived as sexy? You don't have to validate that behavior if you don't think that behavior is appropriate, but you can assure your teens that being curious about these things is very, very normal. It's very normal to suddenly want to know what adult naked bodies look like. It's normal to wonder what certain sexual acts look like or how they work. It's normal to, want to know, what does it feel like to, be desired by someone that I desire and find attractive. A lot of teens are sexual, and a lot of teens today live, a significant part of their life in digital spaces. And so sometimes there is going to be overlap between their, new emerging sexuality and the life they're living online. And so you may get some, sexual things happening online. And so as parents and as caregivers, we can help them develop, good boundaries that will reduce their risks and enhance their enjoyment. So if you discover that you have a sexually curious teen, let them know that, you are there for them and that you are a source of good information, and, offer them those resources. And if you don't have those resources, I'm going to give you some resources in like 30 seconds. So stay tuned. I don't have any specific questions for you now, but if you want, go back to the activity and you can use any of those questions to spark a conversation with your teen about sexuality and the online world. See, I promised you it was only going to take like 30 seconds, and now here we are. I have a couple of other videos on this topic that you might like to check out. One is called Safer Sexting, and that link will be above and below. I also have one about, youth and online pornography. Again, I will link it in the eye and down below. The Pew Research Center published some interesting statistics on teens and sexting, so I will link to that down below. They also published some statistics on teens and cyberbullying, which I will also link down below. And sneak preview, cyberbullying is far more prevalent amongst teens than sexting is. Okay. And most of these other resources are video-based. Actually, they're all video-based. The channel What's My Body Doing is run by a friend and colleague of mine, Eva. She is a sexuality researcher, and actually most of her research focuses on sexting and sexting culture. And she has a great channel where she talks about all sorts of different aspects of sex and sexuality. They're really fast, they're really accessible, they're great for teens who are just curious about, being sexual people. Also, the channel Sexplanations by Lindsay Doe, where she gives some very concise, very easy to understand explanations about, everything you could possibly think of that is related to human sexuality. The site Make Love, Not Porn by Cindy Gallup, where she does a really great job of breaking down how pornography is different from sex in real life without vilifying porn or making people feel guilty if, perhaps they have looked at it and been curious about it. Dina Tokio, who is a Muslim vlogger here on YouTube. I love her channel. I watch it all the time. And she does a lot of sort of modesty-based fashion, and we see a lot of her family. And, there's nothing, at all really about sexuality on her channel, but we see a lot of behaviors that would be part of a healthy relationship dynamic. And she also just sort of presents a different way of being attractive, presenting as confident, presenting as beautiful, while still being modest in terms of her dress. She's really fun. Love her channel. Check it out if you haven't already. And finally, check out the rest of my channel, because this whole channel is about helping you navigate conversations and topics related to sex and sexuality in youth. So you're already here. So just, come back here. I got lots of stuff for you. In the comments below, let me know if you are on social media, and if so, what platforms you use. I am on Twitter, where I post a lot of things that are related to what I do on this channel. I also love Instagram. I'm on Instagram. You can follow me, but my Instagram is not interesting at all. That's all for now. I hope you have a great day, and I will see you soon. Bye. You can help me continue creating free sex ed content by supporting me on Patreon. For as little as $3 a month, you'll get access to all sorts of goodies, so head on over to patreon.com/Nadine Thornhill or click the link down in the description below.